everyone, Sarah here from Sarah and Wonderland, and for once we are going to keep this intro short and sweet. So if you happen to love this pop art zombie look as much as I do, then just stay tuned to find out how to achieve it. Alright guys, so let's get started. So to start off, we are going to glue down one of our brows. So I'm using a washable glue stick, and I'm going to go in the direction that the hairs grow, and then I'm going to brush it in the opposite direction as well, going back in the same direction. This just makes sure all the hairs are coated in glue and laying as flat as possible. Then I'm going to take a little bit of water on my finger, and I'm going to blend out the glue that we just applied, just to ensure that there is no bumps and that the glue blends in nicely to our skin. So next, going in with a white pencil liner, I'm going to map out the features of our face. So I mapped out the nose, the exposed mouth, as well as the gaping holes. For the holes, I just did like an irregular rectangular shape, and these by no means have to be perfect or symmetrical. And then once the first layer of glue has dried, I'm going to go back in with a second layer, this time just going in the direction that the hair is growing, and again taking some water and just flattening out any bumps or bubbles. And I did this about 2 to 3 times until the hair of the brows lays super flat against the face. You want to make sure that the glue dries between each layer. So while that is drying, I added some teeth in the exposed mouth, and for this it's awesome because your teeth don't have to be perfectly shaped, nor do they have to be perfectly placed, because a zombie's teeth most likely aren't the best you've ever seen. So next, going in with an orange color corrector, I'm going to stamp this over top of my brow, and this will cancel out the dark tones in the brow. And then going in with a beauty sponge and just pressing that into the brow, and going in with a second layer of the corrector. And this time I am just going to blend out the edges, that way we have the most opacity over top of the dark tones in the brow. So you just want to stamp this on top rather than rub it so that the glue stays laying flat. And then I'm going to take some translucent powder and just set the entire brow. So going back in with that white pencil liner, I'm going to draw the gaping holes above the eye. Same technique as before with the irregular rectangle shapes with the points. Like I said, the less perfect they are, the better they actually look, and if you make any mistakes, it's easy to just wipe this white liner off. So then the fun part, you get to paint your face whatever color you chose. I chose turquoise because it's one of my favorite colors, and I had a bright pink wig and I wanted them to really contrast each other. So I just go around all the outlines that we did and filled in the rest of the negative space with the aqua color. And I am using a water activated paint. These are super easy to get off and super easy to use, and they are safe for the skin. So when going over the eyelid area, just use a very small amount because you don't want it to crease in the folds of your eye. So next, I'm taking a white cream paint and I'm just going to highlight my cheekbones, and this will just bring some dimension back to the face. And then I'm going to take a teal blue shadow that's darker than the color that we just applied, and I'm going to contour the face. So I'm going to contour the temples, the sides of the face, and the cheekbones. And you can see I'm creating this S shape on the cheekbones to create that sunken in effect that a zombie's cheeks would have. Next, going in with a black eyeshadow, I'm going to fill in my one brow. And then taking the same teal blue shade that we used to contour the face, I'm going to apply this to the crease and outer corner of my eyelid, just building up that color till we have the intensity that we like. And then taking a clean fluffy blending brush and blending the edges of that out. And then taking a matte aqua shadow and placing this on the inner third of the eye. Next, I'm going to create a very dramatic wing, and originally I was using just a regular liquid liner, and I switched to a matte, more liquidy liner because I felt like it was easier to draw over the base paint. And then applying a singular false lash, so I'm just going to curl my lashes, apply some mascara, and apply that lash. And that's the beauty of this look, that you only have to apply one false lash. So next I'm going to go in with a bright pink water activated paint, and I'm going to fill in the gum area of the exposed mouth. And you'll notice that I skip back and forth a lot while things dry. Sometimes when it's a long look, I need to switch up what I'm doing. So next, going in with that same teal blue shade, I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line, apply some black liner to my waterline, and using a black shadow, I'm going to set that liner and further smoke out the lower lash line. So next I am going in with a bright pink grease paint. So I chose a grease paint for this because I found it easier. In a second you will see when we start shading them. You need the smallest amount of grease paint to go a very long way. So don't be loading up your face because it'll just slip and slide everywhere because grease paints do not set. So just use a very small amount and spread it as far as you can. And I use this because the shading technique that we're using, the grease paint really helps create that ombre effect. So next, going in with a darker pink shadow, you are going to want to pick the side of the face that the shadow is coming from and stay consistent with that. So I chose the right side. So the shadow is going to be the darkest at the top right corner, and then keep the shadow consistent on the right hand side. When I have less product, I drag it down the side of the gaping hole and to the bottom right hand corner. But for the most part, I keep the shadow in the top right corners and then fade it downwards. And you'll notice this creates a natural highlight on the left hand side of the holes and just really sells that effect that the holes are in the skin. So next, taking a black shadow, I'm just going to further intensify that shading. So this, I keep the shadow in the darkest spot. So again, the top right hand corner is what I picked. When you're happy with your shading, outline all the holes with the black body paint. And then to show that the holes are actually in the face, we are going to shade around the holes with the teal blue shadow. So I left a little bit of a gap so that it would create the highlighted lifted effect. So next, taking a smaller brush, and I'm going to concentrate this teal blue shadow just above the points and darken that up there. Did these little hook shapes almost, because that's where it would look like it was like pulling and tearing, and that would be the highest point of the hole. So then for the mouth holes, I do the exact same process. So we are just going to whiz by this, filling this in with the bright pink fuchsia grease paint, and then creating those shadows, again keeping on the right hand side because the shadow would not change sides even though it's at a different point of your face, and then further deepening it up with black eyeshadow. We are then going to outline the holes when we are happy with our shading. And then going back to the mouth, we are going to fill in the teeth with some white water activated paint. And then again, we are going to do the same shading process on the outside of the gaping mouth holes and then deepening above the points of it. Next, going in with a black body paint, I'm going to fill in the rest of the mouth as well as outline everything, including the teeth, the gums, the exposed mouth in general. And then I'm going to add some gum texture. I just drew little lines above the teeth and where the gum would kind of fold, just adding in some little wrinkles. And again, shading on the outside of the exposed mouth, deepening where the points would be, and then filling in the nose with some black body paint. So next, adding some drips on the face, and you can just add this wherever you feel like there's kind of an open exposed area where, you know, you feel like something is needed. And then moving on to the body, it's going to be the exact same process as a face. So I just drew some holes on the right hand side of my body and then filled in the rest of the negative area with the blue aqua paint that we were using. We're just going to go through this real quick because, like I said, it's the exact same process that we've been doing on the face. And filling those holes in with the the pink grease paint. Next, adding the shading with the darker pink shadow on the right hand side of the holes again. Adding some white cream paint to my collarbones just to make those stand out, and shading where the holes of the neck would be, the collarbone, just to create that sunken in effect that a zombie typically has, that like sick look. So again, we are going to outline everything in black, including the little neck folds, and we are going to add some drips just like we did on the face. So then I went back in with that teal blue shadow we've been using to shade, and I shaded just under the lowest part of the drip because it would be casting a shadow on the skin directly underneath. And then I took some white body paint and I added a highlight to the left hand side of the drips because that is where the light would be coming from if the shadow was on the right hand side, like I've been following the entire tutorial. So I felt like that white wasn't strong enough, so I went back in with the white cream paint we've been highlighting with, and I just further intensified that highlight. And you can see I popped in one white zombie contact and I added some wrinkles and eye bags under the eyes. I did this afterwards, after I put my contact in, because in case it watered, I didn't want the paint to run. And to complete the look, I added in a whiteout contact on the side with the gaping holes and a bright pink wig that matched the holes that we made. And that is the completed look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really love how this look turned out. I love how contrasted it is and just how fun and bright this zombie is. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye everyone.